Hi there and welcome. It's Jackie back again for our second instalment for today's live catalogue launch party. So if you missed it earlier on this afternoon, we had a catalogue walkthrough live event where I basically went through the catalogue and highlighted my favourites. And this session now is basically we're going to do a bit of crafting. So I'm going to be playing with the Poinsettia Petals stamp set and die. So while I just check my setup, hi Sue, welcome. I was just going to say, when you're here, say hi. And what I'd like you to do for me when you arrive is if you would share the video, that would be great. We can have lots of people joining. So let me just quickly check my setup. Make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear. Hi Diane, welcome. I hope you've all been having fun with the catalogue safari. So I've been posting some questions in the last half hour or so, trying to find various critters in the autumn winter catalogue. So hope you're having fun with those. Thanks for sharing, Sue. Appreciate it. So let's see how we're going. There we are. Okay. Okay, here you go. Hi Lynn, welcome back. Brilliant. Hello, just waiting for everyone to join in. So, as I say, this session now, is the Poinsettia Petals. Hi Doreen, welcome. Poinsettia Petals stamp set and dies. Now, as I said earlier, if I had to pick a single item from this catalogue, would either be this or the snowflake stamp set. So I'm going to be playing with the snowflake stamp set in my 6 o'clock session, but this is this one. So as I say, I'm just really enjoying playing with this, and I think it's going to be one of these ones that you're probably going to see a fair bit between now and Christmas. I'm just, as I say, I've only just begun with the stuff. So it's one of those things that I don't know if you ever have it, but when you start playing with the thing and suddenly your mind just starts flowing with all of the potential stuff that you can do with it. So this is one of those that I know is just going to keep on going. Now, I had a look, when I look on Pinterest and when I look at the, I'm just going to open it up here. So poinsettias are obviously very traditionally Christmas. And I noticed that, in the catalogue, I'm just trying to find the page now. Here it is. So you can see that quite a lot of the projects are pretty ornate. And this isn't, as you guys know, this isn't really my style. I love a much more pared back, simple kind of style. So that's what I've done, is I've created 3 projects which are just a little bit simpler for you to reproduce. And again, I think particularly when it comes to Christmas cards, you might make some cards that are really complicated and take forever to make, and they're the really special ones. But a lot of the time, because you're making quite a lot of cards, you don't really want something that's going to take you an hour to make each time. So I'm going to start with, I think I mentioned, I'm just going to grab it here. Where is it gone? Oh yeah. I think I mentioned earlier this morning about this red velvet paper that we've got here. And as I say, when I saw this, I immediately thought of putting it together with this. So I just wanted to show you the dies to begin with. Okay. So just remind you while you're on here, if you haven't already chosen your 5 numbers for tonight's bingo, which is at 8 o'clock, then do make sure to do so. So that you can join in. That's all you need to do. You just need to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 25. There's a post pinned at the top of the page. So just add it in there, and then you can join in at 8 o'clock tonight, and we'll have 3 rounds of bingo. We'll have some crafting as well. And there's 3 different prizes up for grabs. There's the mini trimmer, which you can't buy, money can't buy. There's the Life is Beautiful stamp set, and there's the Triangle stamp set as well. So some great prizes up for grabs tonight. And as I say, some fun crafting along the way. So a good night to be had, and I hope to see as many of you there as possible. But anyway, back to the dies. So we have, so here are the stamps as well, just to talk you through it. So you've got these 3 flowers here. You can see this one's been played with quite a bit. Okay, so you've got large, medium and small, and then here are the coordinating dies which cut those out. So you can stamp and cut, okay? Fairly standard. Then what you have are these dies which I'm going to be playing with. Now these don't cut, these simply add texture to this. So what that means is that you don't need the stamp set. You can create gorgeous textured flowers just by using these two together, okay? And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So we've got that for the large, the medium, and the small flower just here. Then this here creates the center. So again, this creates a center with holes in it, and then this creates the texture to go back, okay? So I'll show you that later. This one here cuts out this stamp set here, or this stamp I should say. You've got some leaves, so they work the same way. Here are your leaves, here and here, okay? And then you can cut them out with this. This die cuts out this sort of pine bow here. This die cuts out, where is it? This image here. And then these dots layer onto that. And then these other bits here are designed for, can be used for basically adding colour to your flowers, okay? And then we've also got two flowers, so this just cuts and embosses at the same time. And then we've got this is a gorgeous little element, again can be used all sorts. I'm going to be using this a lot, I think, which is really, really cool, okay? So they're your dies and your stamps, and then obviously, you know, you've got your sentiments, and I love the Merry Christmas in here is a lovely big one. Great size sentiment. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is I'm going to die cut three, and I've done some already, but I'm just going to die cut these flowers from the red velvet paper. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to just place your die down. Now, a quick tip for you is that you'll notice that some of the leaves are quite, or the petals are quite irregularly shaped. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier for you to line them up. So what I tend to do is just, one of the things I'm going to do when I think about it, in fact I shall do it now. Let me get one of my Sharpies, one of my blends, is if I make a mark, now that won't work because that's not a Sharpie. So if I get a Sharpie marker, what I will do is I will make a mark here and here, so I know that these two petals go together, okay? So I'm just going to quickly run this through my Big Shot. Be right back. And wait till you see what this makes. Don't know, can you see that? Is that focused? Can't tell. Hang on. There you go. It really looks like an actual poinsettia petal, and it feels the same as well. You've got that gorgeous texture in there. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. So if you get this die set, I would absolutely recommend that you get the red velvet paper to go with it. Be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I have over here, so I've already die cut the large one. There's our medium one and our small one. Okay, and then I'm also going to be using, this is one of the brushed metallics which I talked about earlier today. So this is the bronze. Now we don't do bronze foil in our catalogue, and I love the colour of this. It's so rich, it's gorgeous, so I'm loving playing with this. So I've die cut one of those lovely little bits, okay, out of the copper. I love this little element. And then I've also die cut one of the centers. So this is the center, if I show you. So this center cuts out a piece with holes in it, and this cuts out a piece like that. Let me see if I've got one that's already been done. Just 1 second. Here, I've got one that I've done in the red velvet. So there you go, you can see. Just pop the other out there. So that's the one with the holes. and that's the one that's solid. So it's designed that you can layer them on top of one another if you really wanted to. Okay, but I'm just going to use this bit. That's all I need for now. Okay, and this is a super, super easy card to put together. All right, so the other piece that I have is I have a strip of this gorgeous bronze. All right, so we've got our Whisper White card base, and then I've got a 10 centimeter by 14 centimeter white layer. This is just a super simple card. All right, so let's just assemble our flower. Okay, so we'll take our smallest flower, and using a glue dot, I'm just going to layer it onto the medium flower, just offsetting it like so. Okay, and then I'm going to glue dot that onto the large flower. Okay, so there we have our gorgeous poinsettia. Now we can take our bone folder and just curl these a little bit, as usual, because you just want to create a bit more texture. Don't like flat flowers. Flowers aren't flat in real life, are they? So there we go, and like that we can just pinch. I like to do this with leaves as well, and petals, so you just pinch the ends like that, and that helps with the texture as well. Okay. There we go. So now we have a nice flower with lovely texture, and then we'll take a glue dot with our centerpiece and just pop that in the middle. And look at that, gorgeous. It's just ridiculously easy. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bronze strip and take the goober off the top of my glue, and then I'm just going to glue that. Hang on, this is going to come out in a blob, I know. Hang on. I've got a bit of a blockage going on here, so let's just free that up. There we go. Okay, so again, this is just going, whoops, it's a strip just going across our card, about a third of the way up. Okay, main thing is try and make sure it's straight. Okay, and then we're going to grab our dimensionals. I'm going to pop 2 on the back here because it's quite a big flower. Okay, and I'm just going to attach it, oops, like so. Actually, I should have stamped first, but that's okay. Alright, so now we're going to use the Merry Christmas. Let's hope I've left enough space. I think I have. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that in real red. Actually, no, I'm going to stamp it in cherry. Yep, real red. So let me just grab that ink pad. I think I'm freezing again. I've just heard that Manx Telecom, which is the national telecom provider on the island, had a complete outage earlier in the week, and they're having problems again today, so fingers crossed. Okay, so let's just pop that like so. There we go. It's a little bit crooked, but okay. Alright, and then we can trim the edges. I've also got a smudge on the edge, but I can sort that out in just a second. Okay, and then I'm going to grab our pieces. Yep, I'm just using our glue dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the glue dot, not on the end here, but here. Okay. go, because I'm going to tuck this right underneath my flower. So it's just like that. And then now while I do this, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, do I need to spritz this, ladies? What do you think? Let's just finish off adding our pieces. There we go. Right, and then I'm going to pop this up onto my card base. So what do you think? Do we need to spritz it? I'm not sure. I think spritzing might be a step too far. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Get these off. You need to get that metallic card, Diane. Yeah, I know. It's just gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. I think I'll have to stock up on it. So we've got a no to spritzing, no to spritzing. Okay, we won't spritz them, but I will try to erase my ink mess here on the end. There we go. So there we have it. Card number 1. Clean and simple. But as I say, I just love that red velvet paper. I think it is stunning. And particularly with this stamp set and dies. So here we go, there we are. So even if you didn't particularly like the stamp set, you could just get the dies. The dies work without the stamp set and make these gorgeous flowers. Okay, right. So that's card number 1. Now card number 2 is a bit more complicated. I'm going to do some embossing. So this is for you, Lynn. I know how much you love it. So I'm just going to bring my pieces in. Okay, so again, when I saw this, and I've seen a number of examples where we've used some heat embossing on this one. So I'm just going to, I've cut some already, but I'm just going to show you an example. Okay, so we're going to heat emboss the flower in white. So again, I'm going to use the medium-sized flower. Okay, so we will, embossing buddy, very important. Okay, and then ink up with our Versamark ink, like so. Okay, and then I'll grab some scrap paper. And just our white embossing file. So this is moving away from, as you can see, I'm using a more non-traditional colour. I'm actually using Coastal Cabana, but you can use any kind of sort of light blue that you've got. Okay, there we go. Put that back. Now, when you're heat embossing on vellum, okay, a couple of things to note. Our vellum is quite thick. It's almost like cardstock rather than paper. So make sure that if you're going to heat emboss that you're using a nice thick vellum. And the other thing, it's always best for heat embossing, but particularly the case with vellum, is you need to make sure that your heat tool is fully warmed up before you bring it. Otherwise, it tends to, the warping is more pronounced. And finally, particularly with vellum, you have to be very careful not to bring your heat tool too close to the paper, otherwise it will burn and it will start to go brown. It won't catch fire, hopefully. I don't want the fire engines coming out to me like they were this morning, but it will scorch the paper. So here we go. Let's see this magic glint. There we are. And you can see that when you have heated your tool beforehand, how quickly the powder turns. And that's why it's important, because it minimizes the amount of time that you're applying heat to your flower. So then we're just going to grab our dies, which are here. And in fact, have I got my, yep. So here's our, is it that one? No, it's this one. Okay. So then we're just going to Again, just be conscious to get all of the petals lined up correctly. So you can see here, if I do that, this one here is not right. So just turn it. I have a feeling when I first put it down it might have been right, but you can see now this one's off. We just keep going round until we get it. There we go, bingo. So you can see, once you've got it in place, you can see how it's done. Okay. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the largest flower, but I'm not going to do the texture on it. I'm just going to cut out the flower from white cardstock. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to quickly run these through the big shot. Okay, and now you can see we have this beautiful, delicate vellum flower. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so ahead of time, I've cut out my flowers already. Okay, so then we have our flower like this, and then we've cut these as well. Okay, so we've got our Coastal Cabana card base, and then we've got our card front. So our flower is kind of going to go here, like so, okay? But I want some colour behind it, but I don't want another piece of cardstock because that's not quite what I need. So what I'm going to do is, this is why I've cut this one, is I'm going to grab my Coastal Cabana ink and one of my sponge daubers, and I'm just going to sponge this. Okay, and now again, it doesn't need to be even or anything like that, because it's just going to sit behind, and you'll see the difference once I pop this behind. Okay, but you see this is just much softer in colour than if I cut it out of cardstock. But you see, again, if you were creating a flower, you could just create a flower like this, and if you'd done it with the texture, it would be lovely as well. Alrighty, okay. So the other thing I want is, where's the ribbon? Is that iridescent ribbon I was playing with earlier. Where have I put it? It's going to be one of those days, today's ladies, where everything is just everywhere. So bear with me. Ah, there it is. I had to put it back into my box. Okay. Alrighty. So let's get to assembling. Okay. So same as before. I'm just going to glue dots to make the layers. Okay. There we go. And again, I'm going to create some texture, but you just got to be a little bit more careful with the embossing and the vellum. So I'm just going to pinch it rather than using my bone folder, because the vellum's a little bit more delicate. So again, you can see I'm just pinching. And this is the same with when you're doing any kind of leaves or flowers. This is just the simplest way to give them some texture. So there we go, you can see the difference now. Okay, and then I'm going to put in the center of that, I'm just going to put one of our rhinestones. I'm going to take one of our big ones. Yeah. What I'm actually going to do is put 3. I'm going to be very extravagant. Okay, so this is a bit like in the catalogue you've got the beaded pearls where it's 3 of them. So if you don't have those, you can just put 3 pearls or 3 rhinestones, whatever you've got. Okay, Alrighty. So then, if you look, I don't know if I should show you. So if I put that down there, it's gorgeous, yeah, but it just needs something behind it. Whereas if I put this behind it, you can see the difference, yeah? It just shows through beautifully. So I'm just going to attach that to the, oh, I've lost one of my rhinestones. I'm just going to, again, I'm just going to make sure that my petals line up correctly. There we are. Okay, and then grab my rhinestone. Pop that back on. Okay, and then we're going to want some dimensionals on the back of this. Okay, so again I'm going to put 2 on here. Alrighty, and then we're going to get a piece of this ribbon. So what I want to do is to create a, can you see how beautifully that goes with that? Just really set it off nicely. So I'm just going to create a zigzag. Like so. So I'm just going to, but before I do any of that, I'm going to do my stamping. So I've got my placement, all right, and then these are just cut from our silver foil. These are going to go on here as well. And then I'm just going to, whoop, see, do you see what I mean? This ribbon is quite stiff, so I'm going to leave it off for a minute. I just want to place my pieces in preparation for my stamping, just for placement, because that way if the stamping goes wrong, I just flip over and do the other side, which I couldn't do if these had already been stuck. So my flower is going to go there, and I'm going to ink up. So I'm going to use the same Merry Christmas. Let's clean that off. My scrap. I'm just going to ink this up in Coastal Cabana. Now again, you could heat emboss this in silver if you wanted, but I just want to keep it simple. We've done quite a lot already. I'm just going to stamp that there. There we go. Okay. Happy with that. So now I'm just going to grab my usual trick for attaching ribbon, and I'm going to put quite a bit down here because, as I say, this is a fairly stiff ribbon, so it needs a little bit more coercing is not quite the right word, encouragement. Okay, so we're just going to like that. Like that. And then like so. Okay, and then we have our, let's pop the dimensionals off, the backs I should say. There we go. Pop our flower. Okay, and then same as before, just a glue dot on our, not sure what these are, berry pieces, I'm not sure quite what you call them. Okay. And then, let's see. One up here, but I want to, the stem on here is just, it won't allow me to poke it in as much as I want, so I'm just going to trim it down. And there we go. That's better. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue this down. You tried to heat emboss that sentiment yesterday, Diane. Interesting. Should work. The other thing that happens sometimes is that embossing powders do deteriorate over time. So I brought out my gold embossing powder now while I was playing, and I noticed that it was bubbling a little bit. So it might just be that you need a fresh embossing powder. Now, I am going to spritz this with Wink of Stella because it should. So just I've got a new one. So I'm just going to show you when you start your Wink of Stella. Okay, you need to unscrew the top, take this black bit off, screw it back in, and then that pierces the chamber. And then you just squeeze, okay, without, make sure you got some scrap paper so it doesn't dribble on your project like that, because that's, you don't want that to happen. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just the usual. Add a little bit of sparkle, and then I think I'm going to use some of these sequins. Okay, so let's have a look here. So we've got some lovely iridescent-y ones here. So what I want to do is I'm going to sit down for this bit. Okay, so I just want to put a couple around. Not lots, just a few. Here we go. That's it, that's all I need. Don't need any more. Okay, and then what I've done, what I find useful, okay, is I have my silicone mat here and I've put out a little blob of glue. Okay, and then I'm going to use my little pokey tool. All right, so what I'm going to do is use my, so just pick it up and then use the tip of this. You could use a cocktail stick, anything you like. And then you can just use that to pop the glue down, like so. And it just makes it so much easier with these teeny tiny little embellishments to get it on there without getting great big globs of glue or getting stuff stuck to you all over the place. There we go. Okay, and then just wipe the top off, and then I've got a little bit left for, I'm sure I'm going to be using these later. In fact, I know I'm going to be using these later when we do our session on the snowflakes. Okay, so there we go. There's card number 2. There we go. You can see the gorgeous shimmer on there. And I just think this ribbon really just, needs to be stuck down some more. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's pop a glue dot on the end. Lay it down, make sure it does what we want it to do. There we go, perfect. Quite pleased with that. I like that one. Now, as I said to you before, I'm not 100% ready for Christmas. Not quite there yet. So it's been quite a creative struggle for me to get into Christmas mode. And again, when I look at all of this Christmas stuff, I'm always constantly thinking, can I use this for something other than Christmas? And so the next card is not a Christmas card. Okay, so let me just grab my bits. So this is a really, really simple little design. So I'm going to use these small flowers where they're here. And I like the fact that there's 2 of them, so you can cut out 2 flowers at once. So I'm just going to grab, so I'm going to use, this is Rococo Rose, okay? So I'm just going to quickly cut out 2 of these. Okay? Okay, alrighty. Okay, and then ahead of time, so I'm just going to make a little flower. Ahead of time, I've done the same with some mint macaron and some gorgeous, no, this is Highland Heather. Okay, so just some nice, quite springy colours actually. Again, totally non-Christmas, so same again, we're just going to use our glue dots to build our flowers. Okay. So this is what I was saying about using the dies on their own without the stamping and just the texture is that they create lovely flowers. Okay, so now I'm just going to, same as before, now these are a bit more fiddly because they're small, but we're just going to pinch the tips to create that texture. There we go. So I'm quite enjoying this colour combination. I've realised over the last little while, I don't know if any of the rest of you have noticed, but I kind of just realised it recently, oh I didn't make, is that I've been reaching, I've always liked mint macaron, but it seems I've been reaching for it quite a lot over the last little while. I don't know if that happens to you guys. You just guys kind of just get into a colour for a while. You kind of go through I'm going through my mint macaron phase. But I'm really enjoying it, and seeing it with the autumn colours as well has been really nice. Enjoyed it. Okay, so then I'm going to take my rhinestones again, and we're just going to add, let's take a medium one into the centre of each of these. Similarly, you could use pearls, you could use sequins. If you've got coloured rhinestones, you could do that as well. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and then I've also got, this is just jade ribbon from the annual catalogue, but I think it actually coordinates really nicely with the mint macaron. So I'm going to just cut a piece because I want to create, bit like we did for the snowflake. Hi Jewel, welcome. Glad you could join us. It's good to have you. Haven't seen you for a while. Okay, where's my scissors? There it is. Got it. Okay, we've got that ready. So now we're ready to do some stamping. Okay, so in the stamp set, we have this sentiment here which says, thank you for making this a wonderful season. So I'm going to do a little bit of masking on this one. Okay, so, and then we're going to grab, what colour ink do I want to stamp my sentiment in, do I think? Do I want mint macaron, Highland heather, or Rococo Rose? What do you guys think? 4 colours, Diane. I know. What's going on? It's not like me at all. Oh dear. Okay, so let's grab this. So again, we're just gonna, just for positioning, just gonna pop our pieces on there. And then we're going to take our stamp, and just going to, I've got my Post-it, so I'm just going to line that up like so. Okay, so you can see that's covering up. Ooh, let's get the focus on that for you. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, so you can see that it's covered, there you go, you can see that it's covering up everything below it. Okay, so I think I'm going to stamp it in mint macaron. No, gorgeous grape. I don't use gorgeous grape enough, so let's do that one. Okay, don't really do purple. Okay, so let's just make sure that's in position and that's covering everything. Okay, and then just ink up our stamp. Okay, make sure I'm properly inked, and then most important bit, take the Post-it off. I've made that mistake plenty of times before, and then I'm just going to stamp that down like so. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Close up the ink pad. So then we're going to grab our mini dimensionals. Actually, no, I'm going to put these down with glue dots because I'm going to pop up the panel. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. There you go. And then we'll pop dimensionals. Oh look, coming to the end of a sheet. Lynn's gone for purple. Yep, we are of the same mind, Lynn. Okay, so that's that ready, and then we'll grab our snail. And again, same as before, we'll just put some down and then use that to create our zigzag. Let me put a little bit more down here. Yep, and then we can trim this off. Ooh, hearts. Thank you, ladies. Okay. There we go. And then I think I'm going to grab my, these are my Well of a Time sequins. Okay. And these have got Pool Party in here. But I think again it goes quite nicely with the mint macaron. So I'm going to bring back in my little mat. And let's find my tool. I'm just going to add a few, just add a couple of sequins. Is that straight? Sort of. I'm just going to add a few extra sequins. Oop. Yeah. I think just the 3 is fine. We're going to do the same as we've done before. Okay, so again, as I say, you can use a little cocktail stick or anything you've got for this, which just I found really makes putting down sequins so much easier. And you'll have noticed, you regular ladies, that I've been using sequins a lot more on my cards recently, and this is why. Because I figured out a way to do it without them going everywhere and sticking to everything. Except where I want it to be, which is usually what happens. Okay, pop that away. And then we'll carefully slide our sequins back in. Don't want them going everywhere. And then I think a little bit of Wink of Stella will be just perfect. There you go. Just for a little bit of extra sparkle. So there we have it. 3 cute, simple cards using the Poinsettia Petals stamp set and die. So let's just bring them back in. Okay, so this was our first card, or it's our second card. And then this was our first card. So now, ladies, it's over to you. What is your favorite? The red, the vellum, or the small flowers? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now don't forget, as I said, if you haven't already signed up for your picture numbers for bingo tonight, do make sure to do so. Share this video if you haven't done already. And I will be back again at 6 o'clock with a crafting session on using the snowflake splendor, or whatever it's called. I can't remember now. The snowflakes anyway. That will be at 6, and then at 8 will be bingo. Let's have a look. So Sue likes the second one. Diane likes the second one, the vellum with the red second. Yeah, cool. Excellent. So there you go. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and hope to see you. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say to you, is that now, between now and the next session, is we're going to have the scavenger hunt, which is, I think there's about 15 questions again, just finding stuff through the catalogue. So I hope you have fun with all of that, and I'll see you again at 6 o'clock. Cheerio, ladies. Bye.